All right, so today we're pulling back the curtain and going beyond the lecture halls. We're going to take a tour of what day-to-day life is really like for a university student in China.
Look, we've all heard about the intense academics, the crazy exams, but that's just one piece of the puzzle, isn't it? What happens when the books are closed? What does it actually feel like to live there, day in and day out?
And here's the absolute best way to get your head around it. Don't think of it as just a school. Think of a Chinese university campus as its own self-contained microcity, a massive, sprawling ecosystem with its own housing, its own downtown, its own social clubs, and yeah, even its own rigid social hierarchy.
So, on our tour of this microcity, here's the plan. First, we'll get the lay of the land, the city's structure. Then, we'll dive into the residential and commercial hubs, where students live and eat. After that, we'll hit the professional district, where all that competition happens. Then we'll check out the social spaces, where people find their community. And finally, we'll even look at the state-run municipal gyms. Let's dive in.
Okay, first things first. Not all of these microcities are created equal. Not even close. Where you end up is decided by this fierce competition that starts way before you ever set foot on campus, and it creates a very clear hierarchy from day one.
So this table basically lays out the unwritten class system of Chinese universities. You've got the top tier, the C9 League, and the 985 schools. That's your Ivy League equivalent. A step below that, you have the Project 211 universities. Still very, very good. But then there's everyone else. The huge majority of students go to what they call double non-universities. And for them, let's just say the job market is tougher and burnout is a real problem. The name of your university, city, literally helps shape your destiny.
Okay, so let's see how this whole hierarchy thing plays out in daily life. We're going to start in the residential districts of our microcity, the two places students spend most of their time outside of class, the dorms and the canteens.
And the scale is just, well, it's hard to wrap your head around. We are talking about single buildings that can house over 3,000 students. It is a world of incredible uniformity and incredibly high-density living.
This table really just lays bare the reality of that density. I mean, you've got 4 to 8 people crammed into one room. That gives each person about 2 square meters of personal space. Think about that. Hot water is only on for a few hours a day, and you have to swipe a card just to get into the building. This isn't just housing. It is a highly structured, highly managed, collective life.
And that, of course, has a huge psychological impact. When you have zero privacy, you tend to retreat inward. This quote just captures it so perfectly. The lights go out for everyone at 11 p.m. sharp, and suddenly, the only private space anyone has is the little glow of their phone screen. That's where they can finally connect and let it all out.
But, and this is a big but, there's a huge upside to this state-managed system. Let's head over to the city's commercial hub, the canteen. What's this number? 1 yuan. That's the price of a pork bun for breakfast. 1 yuan. We're talking about 14 cents.
The canteens are, frankly, incredible. They're heavily subsidized, and they're not just cafeterias, they're social hubs. They serve this huge variety of food from all over China, Sichuan spicy pot, Shanghai soup dumplings, and you can get a full lunch for like $2. For most students, this is it. This is where they eat, and this is where they hang out with friends.
All right, so we've moved from the social hubs to the professional district. This is the libraries, the study halls, the place where the core business of this microcity happens. And that business is competition, pure and simple. And to really get it, you need to learn one crucial word, 内卷. It perfectly describes this feeling of being stuck on a hamster wheel, running faster and faster and faster, just to stay in the exact same place. It's really the defining feeling of student life in China today.
And I mean, this student quote just says it all, doesn't it? The pressure to get that better internship, to score just a little higher on the grad school exam, or just to not fall behind, it is completely all-consuming.
This pressure creates these fascinating social dynamics. Like, you get these students from rural areas who are absolute academic geniuses. They've totally mastered the exam system. But then they show up at a top university in Beijing or Shanghai, and they're hit with this massive cultural capital gap. They can feel totally alienated, struggling to navigate social cues that their big city classmates just take for granted.
So with all that insane pressure, where do students go to escape? Where do they find a sense of who they are beyond their GPA? Well, that brings us to the civic and social spaces of our micro-city, student clubs.
What's this number? 270 plus. That is the number of student associations at just one elite university. It's staggering. This isn't just about having options, it's like a whole parallel universe of activities and identities that exists right alongside all the academics.
And this is where the campus really, truly comes alive. You have everything imaginable. I mean, sure, there's a Model UN, but there's also a Cantonese language club. You've got hip-hop dance crews practicing in the open, parkour clubs jumping off the architecture, volunteer groups heading out to rural schools. It's this huge, sprawling ecosystem of passion projects.
And here's the crucial part. These aren't just dismissed as hobbies. They're officially called second classrooms. In a system that can feel so focused on scores and ranks, these clubs are where you actually learn to lead, to work with a team, to manage a budget. But more importantly, it's where you find your people. It's where you build a sense of self that has nothing to do with your last exam. It is the most powerful antidote to the pressure of Neijuan.
All right, for our final stop on the tour, we're visiting the city's public gyms and parks. But here's the thing. Fitness here isn't just a choice. It's a state-mandated requirement, with pretty serious consequences if you fail.
Every single student in China has to pass a national fitness test, every single year. And the standards are no joke. We're talking timed runs, pull-ups, sit-ups, flexibility tests, the whole shebang. It's a really comprehensive and pretty challenging physical exam.
And the stakes are surprisingly high. If you fail this test, you might not actually get your diploma. No kidding. To make sure everyone complies, some universities have even gone high-tech, forcing students to log over 30 runs a semester using a GPS tracking app on their phone. It's a really fascinating example of a top-down approach to making sure students stay healthy.
So after our whirlwind tour of this complex and intense micro-city, what's the big picture? What have we learned?
You know, when you zoom out, life on a Chinese campus is just this world of contradictions. It's a place where you have this forced community in the dorms, but also this desperate individualism in the library. It's defined by the crushing pressure of Neijuan, which is then released through the incredible energy of the student clubs. And you see this constant dance between top-down state rules, like the fitness tests, and the bottom-up reality of youth culture. This is way more than just 4 years of school. It's a high-stakes arena where the future of an entire generation is being shaped.
Which really leaves us with one last big question. In this super-structured, intensely competitive micro-city that's governed by a million rules, from when the lights go out to how many times you have to run, how do millions of young people manage to carve out their own space, their own identity, and their own sense of freedom? That's the real tension, and I think that's the real story of university life in China today.